Okay, so groundwork session with Happy. I'd say that this is pretty indicative of where he's at right now. We'll see that he still has some sassy behavior. So right off the bat here, what I've been doing is trying to get him to follow the feel on the bit. So like right now, he tried to think I'm going to go off to the left. And I'm pulling his nose towards me because I want him to be following the feel that I'm directing and not deciding where he wants to go. So now I sent him to the left, and then he kind of pulled on my hand, so that's why I created tension on the line and then stepped backwards. Stepping backwards really helps kind of force him to have to face and follow me. So then I put him out on a short line. I like to think that they earn the right to get a bigger line. Just being mindful that on the short line, I try to not work them too hard on the short line because it's a small circle, so therefore it's going to be harder. But I want him to do at least 3 walk circles without any attitude and paying attention. And then I'm just testing if he'll follow that feel still, because it's really important that he connects the feel on the bit with forward motion, because he really thinks about being more sucked backwards and then bracing against the bit. So every time I feel like he's leaning out, I just have tension on that line and walk backwards. But also you'll see when he gets sassy, I do that same thing. So basically I take away his fun and make him refocus. And now I was being a little bit particular with how he stepped away from me and then didn't just continue moving out onto the lunge line. I want him to only move his front feet away and then to actually go on the lunge once I've asked him to, not just think I get to turn and go off on my own. So I'm also, especially on this short or small circle, trying to ensure that he is also bending in the rib cage, and he's a lot more bendy on this side. So here he gave some attitude when I asked him to trot. As minor as it may have been, see how much it mattered to him. So the first thing I started to do was pull on the line and walk backwards. And he wants to lift his head and brace and go sideways and choose a direction to go because he wants to go forward under his terms. So I just kept at it and then sent him away and then tested that he'd come right back because he got heavy on the line and then sassy about it. So now I'm making a point that you're going to follow me and then you're going to walk out whichever direction I feel, if it's left or right. And I'm just testing that button still, making sure that he will respect coming off the line. And now I make him follow again because he thought about walking away. And you'll notice that I still maintain a certain distance because he will come farther into my space than I'll want. So that's why there's a few times where I ask him to come towards me, but then I stopped and maybe made him back up a step or two just so he continues to respect my bubble. That was better. Good. Now we're going to try and turn out with just the front feet. Good. That time he didn't try and walk away on his own. So then I sent him out onto the line. Now his posture's a bit more relaxed. Oh, he thought about going off on his own. So what did I do again? I just put tension on the line and hold. Yeah, here he was totally disrespectful of the stick, and I was telling him, no, you don't get to keep going. And then I'm taking those walk steps backwards with tension on the line, waiting for him to soften and come forward. See, he wants to just go forward out onto the line. That's why I have the stick up now too, trying to block him from thinking that he can continue traveling out on the line. No, you have to follow. Good. So instead of like getting into the fight with him or allowing him to get excited and put that energy out on the lunge line like he's been allowed to do, I'm taking that fun away. And at the same time, teaching him to respect the bit and be thinking of traveling more forward and not resistant and tight. So now here we have a nice walk. He's committed to walking. He's nice and marching. He's not breaking into the trot. That's why even just a simple thing like 3 walk circles can take a long time to achieve. But I think it's important, especially from a mental standpoint. So then I ask for trot and he wants to give sass again. So I'm going to do the same exact thing where I just take that fun away, grab the line, walk backwards. Send them off the new way. Now I like where he's at here. He's relaxed in his body. He's not pulling on me at all. Little head shake, blow. That's a good sign of relaxing. Asked him to go. He didn't give me any attitude that time. And it is a small circle. So I'm, like I said before, I like to think that they earn the right to be able to be out bigger, because if he decides to start being silly, then it's less easy for me to rein him back in. A little shake of his head there. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I can give that to you a little. Maybe it's a fly. Maybe it's not being disrespectful. I think I make him go around like 6 or 9 circles, something like that, just to really test him. And I'm also wanting impulsion in that trot. I don't want him just meandering around, which has been something with him that he hasn't appreciated, and he'd give me attitude if I asked for him to be pushing from that hind end more. So I liked that. And then I've also been working that trot to walk transition, because he likes to just kind of go into a jog and take his time breaking down into the walk. So I'm trying to make that more clear to him, that when I'm asking you to walk, I want you to walk now and not just puttering down into it. Another nice trot transition. So I don't know if you saw there, I actually fed him out a little bit more line. That head shaking in this application, I think, is more of a bug thing. Yeah, because he's stretching his neck a little bit, telescoping down a little. So it wasn't a bad canter depart. I didn't super like, I thought he was being maybe a tiny bit rude, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Now, he's pulled on me a little bit a few times. And so I'm just kind of setting my hand so that he can't drag me around. And I'm going to remember, if I go into the canter again and I feel like he's starting to try and pull me somewhere, that I can break him down just like I did before by making the line taut and stepping backwards to slow him down. But I'm testing him through all of the transitions, up and down and up and down. And I liked that well enough. So he gets to finish facing me, where he had to follow that line, just like we've been talking about. And then I get him prepped for the other side. This side, when I work him on this one, he actually naturally bends better this way. But what that also means is that he falls down on the inside shoulder on this side more easily. So I actually have to spend quite a bit of effort when he's traveling around on the circle to maintain the bend and not be falling into the circle. Now, and I can get to that, but right here, it's the same thing as I did on the other side. I just want him to yield where he steps his front feet away, but doesn't continue thinking he gets to walk out onto the circle. So I'm asking for that shoulder to step across. Very good. That's the step I wanted. And then when he stood there and waited, then I raised my hand and told him he could go. And if you look closely, sometimes like here, I'm using my purple stick a little bit towards his rib cage, and I'm wanting him to bend in that rib cage. Now, when I mess with the lines like I am here, I was trying to get reorganized. I found that he's easily triggered by me, like adjusting my tools. So I kind of had to give up my organization there because he decided, oh, you're fiddling with the lunge line. That must mean that I get to just go trot off now. So that's why I immediately just grabbed the line, stepped backwards, made him walk towards it, took that fun away. And then we're starting over again. Step with your shoulder away, but you don't get to continue on the circle unless I ask you to. But yeah, with the triggering, I've just noticed like I don't want to baby him to the extent that like I'm afraid to mess with the ropes or anything. I'm still going to do whatever I have to do. I just know or have noticed with him that it may cause him to get excited or take that as a cue that he gets to go be silly. So I would just say that when you're handling your equipment, he's Mustang. He's recognizing that there's movement and change. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna baby him about it and be too afraid to handle anything. He just needs to learn the intention behind certain things and to wait, especially for like going off into higher gates. He needs to be more patient and wait and not just think, oh, the lunge line's attached, now I get to go. So I liked that trot transition. He didn't give me any attitude. And now I'm gonna maintain pushing him through these circles to where he's giving me a nice forward trot where he's pushing from that hind end. And he's gotten, over the couple weeks now, he has gotten a lot better about understanding that I ask him to go into the gate and he's expected to stay there and not keep slowing down and then being told to go faster again, because we've already worked through that where he'd be like, oh, well, if I can't do it my way, then I'll just be slow and be pokey. So now he stays in the gate pretty well. Good. Now, if you notice there, when I asked him to walk, he wanted to kind of keep jogging and not go down into that walk. So I will actually kind of grab hold of the line and walk towards the hip slightly, because getting the hip to step away disengages his ability to keep pushing forward from it. So I use that as a tool to help show them, no, I asked for walk, and this, I can literally take your engine away, instead of trying to like shake the line at him or something like that. I'll just step up there, like I stepped towards the hip a little bit, just wanted that hip to step out and him understand that he's got to go down to the walk. Another nice transition where he didn't give me attitude. I'll ask for the canter. He's quite good about stepping into the canter without attitude, but as you see here, once he was in the canter and then I told him, hey, we need to start pushing from the hind end, then he wants to sling his head and get a little rude about it. So it's no different than what I did in the walk or the trot, where I took the fun away. And I don't want this to look like it's a pulling contest. It's only a pulling contest because he's not following the line. And I'm never going to be able to outpull him. But if I can show him that when the bit pulls you one direction, you have to follow with your feet. Because he just naturally wants to tense up, raise his head, and go against it. So, same thing that has been the theme in all of this has been, if he wants to get rude or silly, I take the fun away and I make him follow towards me, which is also teaching him to follow that bit with his feet a lot better and to be more forward. And in the canter circle going to the right like he is, this is the side that he struggles with. He wants to pull me out. He wants to kind of take himself, because He really, one side to the other on the right side, even under saddle, is the one he's most disconnected with the bit to his inside front foot. So it's no surprise that here on the ground, he doesn't follow that feel as well. So that's why I slowed him from the canter and then went back to this follow your nose kind of concept. Because once he got to cantering, he just tries to pull me out and he's not following with that inside front foot. So I just take that away and readdress the root of the problem until I feel like he follows it with a better step and without pulling. And then we go right back into what we were asking for and test if he translated that and he understood that he can't pull me out. It's a nice canter transition again. Now throughout the circle, I'm just making sure I'm not holding pressure on him, but I'm making sure that he's not pulling against me. And if he did try and lean out and get bigger, I can apply pressure like I did there and he can follow it, and that's good. Hopefully this makes sense to you. I know it's probably a relatively long video to watch. This is pretty indicative of the amount of time we have to spend on the ground. Usually I work the ground and then I get on and just put him through each gate, making sure that he's getting off my feet. That's been the major thing, is being a lot more forward off my feet and being softer in his mouth. And his go-to is, if he doesn't want to be soft, which he usually doesn't, he wants to raise his head up in the air and try and evade the bit, which is also a sign of not being forward. But that's usually how it goes with us, and I am seeing some progress. I'm excited to continue with him and see how he continues to grow.